You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchardstown Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Darrow O'Connor on the...
Welcome to the Wrestling Rewind, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling.
Alright everybody, welcome to Phoenix 92.5 FM, the True Penny channel and Nerd to Know Media. This is the Wrestling Rewind, show 81, and if you're listening to us on Phoenix 92.5 FM, what are you doing? Go over to Nerd to Know Media and check out the full show, Nerd to Know Media, where all the shows are, or the True Penny channel. We do appreciate it. You're checking us out every single week. But listen, we want to hear from you. Email us, nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com. Or you can just look for the Wrestling Rewind on the social media, because we want to hear from you. We want your interactions, and we don't get that when you're listening to us on the radio, but we do appreciate that you are there. My name is Darrow O'Connor, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Martin Herty. Martin, how are you, sir?
How is she sagastiating?
Very well. Very, very well. It's funny, we're a week out from Survivor Series, and I didn't even know we were a week out from Survivor Series.
Nope.
That's how poor the WWE product.
Neither of us would have survived.
Oh man. Well, see, I hate the Survivor Series anyway.
It's never been a great one. I was really, really surprised that it survived. Not to be a pun, over King of the Ring.
Yeah, I think it only survived because of its lineage. It has that, I think 1989 was the first Survivor Series.
Its lineage is that Vince
Undertaker
just wanted to deny cable rights to Starrcade.
But also Undertaker, The Rock,
yeah. Undertaker,
all that kind of stuff. They all did debut there. Kurt Angle debuted there. So
yeah,
it has.
But that happened on the show. The show itself was an entirely cynical, dirty trick.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it totally was. I don't know. I will maintain until I go into the cold ground that Survivor Series should either be War Games or should be a tournament. Deadly Games is
King of the Ring.
Like King of the Ring. But Deadly Games actually was the best way to do it. Former co-host of the show, Gary Herden, actually used to would go on rants about that, and he was right. It's the best use of that.
And what happened, Gary? Did he go on to bigger and better things, or did he mysteriously disappear?
No, Gary still pops in from time to time, but real life gets in the way sometimes, and there's only so much you can hate WWE. That's the thing. This is why
you say that.
No, but this is why the Rewind is the Rewind, because we get to go on good jaunts through history instead of painfully suffering under WWE's tyrannical boot.
Yeah. Speaking of jaunts through history, when you introduced me there, I said, "How's it sagastiating?" And that is an old thing my great uncle used to say to me.
Interesting.
And he'd say, "How's it sagastiating?" And he'd train me to say "fierce combunctious" in response. And he was living over in the US, and every time he came home, he'd go, "Barton, how's it sagastiating?" And I go, "Fierce combunctious." And he'd give me like 50p or a pound or whatever if I said it properly. And for years and years, it never occurred to me to look those words up. I had no idea what they mean. And I looked them up recently. And sagastiating means to journey forward or to thrive. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
How's sagastiating? And fierce combunctious means to be deeply mired in regret or guilt. I don't know what the hell he was hiding or what he was projecting onto me, but I'm starting to view my childhood entirely differently.
Well, Martin, you got paid. That's the main thing. And once you get paid, that's what it's all about.
I got that money, and when you think of him coming back twice a year for 10 or 15 years, I mean, that's upwards of £6-7 I made.
And was this in Imperial credits or was this in?
Oh, this was out punt.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, punt is. See,
Oh,
that
this
was
was
real
out.
money. Real money.
A 50p punt you could take someone's head off with.
I could buy a house with it too, nearly.
That's how you knew it had value.
Yeah.
Like-
Actually, it's funny. I was in Belfast there on Sunday, right? And I just ended up I had to take money out because you can't order taxis on the app for some reason. So I don't know what's up with Belfast, man, but they don't use apps. You have to like literally call taxis, which is weird. But I was like, all right, need to get a taxi. Took out £35, and then I got change, and I'm like, man, these imperial credits feel like money compared to like euros, which don't feel like money at
and
all.
now you're stuck with a load of STGs.
Oh man, yeah, which you can't use in England either, which is hilarious.
Exactly.
You can't
yeah.
use in England. I remember. Sorry, go
What
on.
we'd like to do is we'd like to own your country, but we'd also like to make it really inconvenient for you.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's like, listen, lads, I didn't know that because for a lot of my life there was not Dublin and then everywhere else, right? And sorry, there was Dublin and not Dublin, which is everywhere else.
See, you'd love Belfast because the exact same mentality exists in Belfast.
I do like Belfast. Belfast is great. The people are wonderful and it is a cool place. But I didn't realize this was a thing. And when I was start traveling around or doing gigs and all that kind of stuff, I ended up trying to spend English money in Belfast at one point, and they're like, "Oh no, you can't do that." I'm like, "Wait, what? Wait, what? What do you mean you can't do that? What's going on?" And then I discovered that you have different money. It's like of all the places that the euro would make sense, it's here for this specific reason. Even though I don't like the euro.
On this goddamn island.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, on this single landmass.
But even still,
preaching to the converted.
But even when you're like in England and you're like have to like obviously debit cards have changed this, but when you have to change money to go to England, it's like this is crazy. It's half an hour away. What is going on?
Well, I used to go out with a girl from London.
Mm.
I went out with her for years, and would regularly find myself just getting the plane over to London for the weekend, and I would make a point of taking out like Irish sterling and trying to spend it in a shop and having a blazing row with some poor idiot from like Sheffield or Lancashire who've never even heard of Ireland.
Yeah,
and relating the past 800 years to them as to why they should take this money.
Well, to be fair, they set themselves up for it. It's like if you're going to invade a country and enforce pounds, at least make it sure you can spend it everywhere. It's wild. It's wild. But anyway,
it's not as if you'd have euros from like Limerick and you can't spend them in Wexford.
Or it's like you can't spend Irish euros in Spain. It's the same logic. It makes no sense. Like, what are you doing? Oh man, I don't know. But anyway, thank you, listeners who are listening in Dublin, or the majority of our listeners who listen in the US. You have been treated to this rant about currencies. But anyway,
loving this. Fascinating stuff.
Absolutely, it's wild. But seriously, if you guys
for their purposes, just imagine you couldn't spend Texas dollars in Wyoming
or Texas dollars in New York.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's the same
Texas
thing.
pesos. I don't know. Has Texas been given back to Spain to Mexico yet?
No, well, technically they have to give it back to Spain because Spain are the ones who, and then they bought it off them. And then the same with the Louisiana Purchase, France.
Exactly.
America bought all that stuff from different European powers.
Let's get deep into the Louisiana Purchase. Let's talk about everything except Fall Brawl 99.
Oh man. Well, to be fair, if this was last week where we had to quickly go over Road Wild because it was so bad, I would be happily go into the Louisiana Purchase. But
here's the difference this week, Dara, and I don't know if you feel the same because we actually haven't discussed this beforehand.
No.
Fall Brawl 99. A shining diamond in the rough, as far as I'm concerned.
It was wonderful. It was a really good show. I don't know.
Blown away.
Look, once I saw Berlin on the show, I was like, yes, there's still some good here. There's still some good here. We will get into that at the end of the show because there's a bit of context in it that we have to talk about. But as we're recording this on the Friday, because we do tape on a Friday, gonna try fix the tech issues again so we can go live and have you guys on the show. But for the time being, it is what it is. And Dave has disappeared off into the ether again. We don't know where he is. He'll show up eventually.
And if we can't get the tech working to have you guys on live, what we're going to do is both me and Dara are going to open up our homes to 40 people every week, and you can come and sit in on the recordings.
To be fair, here's the thing: when cons are open again, we'll absolutely do a live podcast taping. That's a thing that I guarantee we'll do if there's interest. Because that would be awesome to have a live audience in there when cons are open again. But that, of course, check out Nerd to Know Media, where that's the thing that we did before the world ended. But anyway, so look, Full Gear is happening this weekend. It's on Sunday, which is really annoying. AEW, what are you doing?
It's on Saturday, you clamp it.
Well, hold on. It says here main event on Sunday in Minneapolis. So it's
Sunday our time.
Oh, okay, CBS, you've lied to me.
It's on Sunday, 1 a.m.
Oh, okay, so it is Saturday now.
So
I see.
It's technically Sunday, but I will be sat up with a huge bottle of whiskey, an enormous grin on my face, and a huge mound of tissues for when Hangman wins. Not for the purposes you're thinking of. Because I will genuinely cry.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, FM radio show, watch out. Okay, well, I sit corrected because I thought this was going to be on Sunday. Got to go on a huge rant. AEW, fair play. Pay-per-views on Irish Saturdays are the way to go forward because it means we can watch them and work isn't a problem because WWE for years just didn't care. So okay, so here it is here. So
what I will say is, work will still be a problem because I intend to sit up till 6 a.m. on Sunday, just hoofing whiskey into me. So Monday will definitely be a problem, but it will not be as much of a problem.
So the action goes down Saturday from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It will be available on pay-per-view. Begins at 8 Eastern with the buy-in show at 7. So that is 1 p.m. 1 a.m. our time. And 12 midnight our time as well. And let's go through the card. So the main event, I suppose, is probably the best way to go because you brought it up. Kenny Omega versus Adam Hangman Page. And I think this is year or two in the making.
2 years in the making. This is storytelling you don't get anymore.
And again,
partly because companies don't do it, but partly also because companies can't do it because of the the monthly pay-per-view thing that became prevalent during the Monday Night Wars.
Yes.
Whereas back in the 80s you could do 2-year storylines because you only had 5 pay-per-views a year.
Well, it's also interesting with this as well. It's not only 2 years in the making as far as the story itself. Hangman Page was went against Jericho for the first when he crowned the first championship, which is pretty cool. Where it's he's been trying to get it from the very beginning, which is even without the whole stuff that they've been doing, where Kenny Omega was his one of his best mates, and then he turned on all that kind of stuff. Literally, just from I've been trying to go for this for 2 years, is really cool.
Yeah, Hangman has always been the almost guy. Almost gay.
Yeah.
And then he did really well. And then he fell back. Then he did really well. And then he had a stumble. And then he looked like he was coming back. And then he failed. And he is every single one of us who have been beaten down, battered and bruised by life. And I honest to God think this is his moment.
Yeah, and particularly with Omega as well, who, while I haven't enjoyed his work as the champion, for the moment, he's had some really good matches, to be fair.
You haven't?
I don't if I'm supposed to hate him, I don't. If I'm supposed to like him, I don't.
So what you're trying to tell 12,000 people in Columbus, Ohio, is that you're a Philistine.
No, what I'm trying to say is I've enjoyed the matches that he's been in. I've really enjoyed the stuff he did with Moxley. I really enjoyed his run with Christian. His little run with Christian with the Impact Invasion is my favorite thing of wrestling in the past 5 years. Been
Fantastic.
brilliant, fantastic. I just don't like Kenny Omega. I don't know why.
You're
I don't
supposed
know
to
why.
like him.
I don't know why.
He's a heel.
But yeah, I know, but not in a heel way. It's like he has like X-Pac heat, you know.
Oh
Um,
no, that
no, he does. He does. With
you have
super.
X-Pac heat for saying that.
No, come on now. But what I am saying is, if Hangman wins on Saturday, that roof is going to explode.
Boom.
And you know what? I think everything that Omega has done will have built up to that. And then I'll be like, that is brilliant. Because I can't tell if Kenny Omega is just, he's so heelish that you're supposed to really want the belt off him. And he's doing it, and probably is, and probably being worked. But I just really don't want to see him with the belt anymore.
Here's the other thing that
Yeah.
has me really excited about this
Mm.
is the aftermath.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's say Hangman wins.
Mm.
All the past couple of weeks, AEW have been doing loads and loads of New Japan stuff.
Yes.
And on Dynamite this week, excuse me, Bryan Danielson fought Rocky Romero, and Rocky Romero was like New Japan's guy in the US.
Yeah.
And then at the contract signing on this week's show, Hangman brought up like specifically that Kenny Omega used to have a tag team partner who he didn't feel quite as good as, who he didn't feel he measured up to. And I just get the feeling that if Hangman wins the title, Kenny's next run is going to be maybe some sort of breakdown where he loses the AAA title as well. You know, the belt collector's gimmick is gone, and then Kota Ibushi shows up, and I'm almost even more excited for that.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Like they have to kind of be very like that, or Miro. Miro could end up being a challenger for Page.
Well, yeah. Let's pivot then. Let's pivot then to the tournament. What do you think, Miro or Danielson?
It depends. Miro is so legit now that and he is like that monster heel that is outside of the elite. So I would say the smart money's on Miro to win, to establish him by beating Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryanson. Bryan Danielson. I think that's the smart money, to be fair, to be like, I think, you know, if you were going to do it, Bryan doesn't have to be established. He already is. Doesn't have to ever win the belt again. Doesn't have to do anything. Just have to be there.
And even if you only consider his AEW career, like he's made himself. He's had like 9 matches in the past, 8 weeks or something,
and they've all been great.
And they've all been great, and he's finished every one of them with a different finisher. When we get to the end of the year and we're talking about, what were the best matches? What were the 10 best matches of the year? I mean, you could just say 10 Bryan Danielson matches,
and you wouldn't be wrong.
No, you wouldn't be.
But this is what I'm saying, right? I genuinely think they will give it to Miro to establish him as the monster heel in AEW. Set him up to go against Page, or, you know, very soon. Bryan, it'll probably be some kind of finish where there is it's not WWE, so it won't be interference, but there'll be something happen that he'll come up short in some way. But it makes way more sense to me for an establishment cementing Miro as an established heel rather than just giving it to Daniel Bryan, because he doesn't need it. Genuinely, he doesn't need it. And I do think we'll see like one or two runs maybe next year with Bryan with one of the belts. But at the time, it's like Punk. Punk doesn't need a belt either. There's just guys. There's guys that
not at the moment.
Don't need it. No, not like Jericho. And some people say, why did Jericho get the belt? The belt needed to be established. Giving it to Jericho is a great idea. Now it already has been. So,
and it was not only a great idea to give it to Jericho. It was a great idea to give it to Jericho over Hangman.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Over the young guy, over the homegrown talent guy. You know.
And now it's going, as you said, it's going to come full circle with the homegrown guy winning it. And, so that's my pick.
The thing with Miro, like you're saying, it's one of those matches, and you see these matches so much in AEW where I actually would be happy for either one to win, but I can completely understand a Miro win, because Miro, in many ways, strikes me as like a monster Eddie Kingston, because you can put him in any match, and then you can give him one promo, and he can make you think that in one promo, he can make you think that match is the most important fight in the world.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely. I was going to swear there. I'm not going to. You're spot on, because I haven't even thought about that. But when I'm
Miro in the dark going, why did my God give me a body of granite and a neck of sand? Like, oh my God, he's amazing.
But when I'm watching even Eddie Kingston and his stuff with Punk, it has the same energy to it. Now, on the flip side, I think Punk's winning that match.
Again, I honestly don't know.
Punk kind of has to.
I wouldn't be annoyed either way. So why does he have to?
Because Punk's gimmick now is so annoying. It's incredible. He's like a greeter in Walmart.
What?
He shows up. Have you ever been to Walmart in America?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know guys who are like, "Oh, hey, how are you? Are you having a good day?" But that's what he comes out every week. He's like, "Oh, hey, everybody. Yeah, great."
I don't remember very many of them pile driving me.
No, but I'm just, he needs to get a gimmick.
Well, okay, so there's two things I would say.
And happy to be there, Phil, is not a gimmick.
Oh, okay, there's two things I would say. One, happy to be there, Phil. All right, that's a fair.
That's his gimmick.
It's a funny, but it's a fair criticism. But what I would say is that, I mean, like, AEW is still turning around the world.
Yeah.
Still turning around the US.
Yeah.
And like every single city wants their CM Punk moment.
And
like, can you imagine if AEW came to Dublin and CM Punk didn't come out? Like, you'd condemn the whole thing.
No, and I understand it. But what I'm saying to you is, from a wrestling character standpoint, he needs to get one. He can still be happy to be there, Phil.
Well, I mean,
but like,
he kind of does have, like, so what
is it then? What's his character? No, stop. He's not Bret Hart.
He's Bret Hart.
Okay, but even Bret Hart
he's not a champion, but he's the fighting champion. He's come out of retirement and he's taken on all comers, and like Danielson, he's having bloody great matches. He hasn't had a bad match yet.
But Danielson, look, they can't have two people doing the same thing. Danielson is actually...
They're not doing the same thing. Danielson is
legit
on a trajectory to gold. Punk is not... Danielson not yet heading for gold.
Here's the reason why that doesn't work. And I do respect your opinion, and I do actually agree with it. But Danielson is legit. Hasn't been damaged at all. Punk can't say he's the best in the world, because we've seen him being battered in the UFC. He's done so much damage. No.
We've had this out before, Dara.
I know, but I can't buy it. I can't buy it.
It's completely different. It's like if you had Brock Lesnar, right? Brock Lesnar's talking about he's the best in the world, and then Brock Lesnar decides he wants to go into tennis, and he loses a tennis match, and you're going, and you're not the best in the world because you lost Wimbledon.
No.
Wrestling and tennis are not the same. Wrestling and UFC are not the same.
No, they're not the same. But Punk has done so much damage, because his whole gimmick was that, he's an MMA and he does the jiu-jitsu.
That was never his gimmick.
He walked out wearing a Gracie hoodie for years, and then he goes into the MMA, gets battered, and then limps back to wrestling. And it's like, man. So look,
what you're actually saying there is superstar from one sport goes to different sport isn't as good at it. What you're actually saying is Michael Jordan, turns out he's shite at hurling.
Well, he was shite at tennis. Well, no, what tennis? Baseball, wasn't he? Went to quit to play baseball.
Probably. I mean, baseball is just
he did quit
hurling.
He actually did quit basketball to play baseball.
I haven't seen The Last Dance. I don't know the Michael Jordan. So
that was in Slam Jam or Space Jam. That was in Space Jam.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
no, what I'm
You're a
saying to you
bloody
is right.
monster.
What I am saying to you is right. Punk set this up. He has himself in a corner here, and the thing about it is, Punk's greatest asset is his talking ability and his character building, and it always has been, right? But he's just not. He needs to be a character, and he just isn't one yet. He isn't doing the straight edge thing. He isn't doing the straight edge society thing. He isn't doing the best in the world thing. He isn't
Well, I think
doing
that's deliberate. I mean, like
the voice of the
he's
voiceless.
not the guy he was 7 years ago. He's
You're right.
different, and I think that's good. I think that's an evolution of the character. And
But there is no character. He's literally just happy to be there, Phil. And it's
like,
fucking. I understand you.
I actually think, okay, I know you're using "happy to be there, Phil" as a pejorative.
I didn't come up with that. I didn't come up with that. That's what people are calling him on the internet.
Okay, I'm not saying you come up with it. I'm just saying that I know you're using it as a pejorative, but I think it's I think it's a good for the moment. I think it's a good character move because his whole character all his life has been, the anti-hero and being against
which
whatever.
is what I really liked.
Yeah, but now he's in a company that appreciates him, appreciates his style. Now, he's not always going to be that. I have no doubt that in a year when all the towns and all the cities get used to the big CM Punk pop, that they'll do something different with him.
Right.
But I think for now, we've got CM Punk back after 7 years. We've got what wrestling fans have been chanting for 7 years. We've got that. We've got awesome matches because regardless of the character, all his matches.
The matches are really good.
Whether he's been wearing long boys or CM trunks.
It's still weird when he walks out. He walks out wearing not trunks. You're like, what are you doing? I missed the basketball shorts, to be honest with you. The basketball shorts where it was at.
Yeah. But look, dude,
I'm a CM Punk fan, right? Legit, right? I'm just annoyed that he's not CM Punk anymore. It's like, where are you? Come on, do something.
This is the thing, Dara. He is CM Punk because it's 7 years later and people change. I mean,
I know,
have you changed in the past 7 years?
I have. Well, his whole career was
more
him.
hair for one thing.
His whole career has been bitching and moaning and complaining, and now he's just, hey everybody, me and my best bud we're buddies. It's like,
yeah,
I hate him.
imagine you'd been bitching and moaning for something for like 15 years, and then someone solved that problem. Would you not be?
I know.
Imagine you, Dara. You, Dara, are a lion because you're a goddamn lion. And I, Dara, in your presence, I'm a mouse. And you have a thorn in your paw and you can't get it out because you're a big lion. Right. 15 years you've had that thorn in your paw. And then I come along and a wee mouse, and I pull that thorn out of your paw. Wouldn't you go out to the jungle every day and be like, this goddamn mouse is the best mouse ever?
Yeah, I know, but like, look, I
didn't intend to get this biblical.
No, yeah, I'm amazed you pulled a biblical reference. But anyway, as I said, like, we've all changed. It's and over the past 7 years or something like that. That's fair enough. And people age and people grow and that kind of stuff. But it's very strange because it's just it doesn't feel like CM Punk. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, Dara. Did you see last week's Rampage?
Where he had the
showdown?
Yeah, that was really good with Eddie Kingston.
And are you telling me you saw that and you are not hyped?
I am.
Whatever about the long-term story, you are not goddamn hyped for this fight.
No, for this fight I am. And that's what I mean, because it was the first time. It's the first time he showed a bit of character in his whole time he was there. But he's still doing the martial arts thing, and you're like, listen, you can't do it. Like, we saw you got battered. Stop trying to do it.
But again,
it's his gimmick. His gimmick is he ruined his gimmick on me. That's the thing. It's like we've seen what happens. You can't do it.
But
He can't work me
we're not
anymore.
gonna go around in circles all night, but I think I don't think you can judge one sport by a different sport. I don't think you can go, hey, now I can't think of any sports people. Hi, Oisin McConville, you're terrible at football because you tried to go and be a polo player and you were awful at it.
Isn't polo the one with horses?
Well, there's polo, and then there's water polo, and then there's just competitive eating mints. So,
oh well, that must be in America though. That sounds like an American thing. But anyway, listen, I understand. We're gonna leave it there. I hope I'm wrong. I just want to see the old CM Punk back.
And look, I'm sure in time you will, but
like, to be honest with you, man, I would prefer him being in WWE. And I'm gonna get again. I'd prefer him being in WWE right now, cutting promos how bad WWE is.
Sorry, can you pause the recording while I get violently sick into my own eyeballs?
No, I mean, like, if there was, think about him there now. If he was in WWE saying they're firing everybody, this is terrible, they're not listening to me, he has the right to do, and he could go out and do that, and
No, he couldn't. If he was in WWE right now, some sitcom writer would write him a script that he would have to go out and memorize and deliver, and it would have. Like even what you're saying now that he has like no character, you still have to say that everything he's been delivering has been real, has been raw, has been genuine.
Yeah.
Like we could write a CM Punk promo, and he could go out and memorize and read a CM Punk promo, but it wouldn't be CM Punk.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I guess I still just need to kind of give it a bit more time. But look, it's one of those things, it's
telling you, this match is going to make you an AEW fan.
I look, since he came back, that little conflict was the first time I got those bit of vibes, But anyway, a match that I am looking forward to actually is the Britt Baker AEW's Women's Championship match. It's going to be really good. Now I know Britt's going to win because of course she is. She's like the most overstar of the whole company.
Cool.
But
Tay Conti's, she's brilliant, really like kind of not going to win, but like she's a great challenger. Like I think this will be a great. I don't want to sound like being like I'm talking down about it, but I think this will be a great women's match because the women's division hasn't always been great in AEW. I think this will be a fantastic match.
Well, this is a case of them benefiting from WWE cuts as well, and they actually took Conti from the WWE NXT, and she's only a young one. She's only 26 as well. So like, a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, which is pretty cool. So I'm like, right, she's not going to win, but you definitely have the roots of a very, very good match there, and this is what they need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what gets me with wrestling, like. I mean, me and you could sit here and I bet, because we've been watching so long, 9 matches out of 10 in any company we could probably predict. But all you need to make a match really entertaining, to make a match real, is 1% of doubt. All you need is 1% of doubt. And guys,
for those near faults
like Miro, like Eddie Kingston, they give you that one. Well, they give you about 50% of doubt, but all you need is that 1% of doubt to make a match from a viewer's point of view competitive. And man, Tay Conti's brilliant, and she has given me 1% of doubt. Just 1% thinking maybe
that's all you need.
Maybe they're thinking Tay Conti.
Now, what they do need to do is they do need to kind of put more women onto this card. Having one match is not enough. They should probably have about two or three. But
TBS title, I think, is going to be. I think that's going to be really great for the women's division.
Look, it is the only weakness that they have because their tag division is so good. Everything else is so good. They just need to kind of raise that up a bit. But they'll get there, And I think
the final of the TBS title will be in this pay-per-view, won't it?
I think it's on the buy-in.
No. So the buy-in is Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose. That's worth watching on its own.
It's not listed on the card I have in front of me, so I'm assuming.
But I think that's because they don't have the they don't have the finalists of that. I can't imagine that they've been building this up for the past 6 weeks.
Okay.
Not to have it on the bloody pay-per-view.
Well, I hope so. Again, like it's not a case of representation. It's more a case of they need to get people to understand that this is a big deal. These things matter. And hopefully they have the awareness to do that. But the buy-in shows. Here's the thing about AEW: the buy-in shows are always very good. Anyway, they're never like it. And for anyone who hasn't watched AEW, because look, we do have some people that only watch Japanese wrestling, or only watch old wrestling, or only watch current WWE. And if you do watch current WWE only, I'm really sorry. Poor, feel sorry for you.
I hope you recover.
Yeah, exactly. My condolences. But if you're, if you've only watched the WWE buy-in, they're talking, for like an hour. The AEW shows are actually good. They have some decent matches on them, and it's like watching a free episode of Dynamite, basically.
Look, I'm clearly an AEW fan. Like I don't like using the word mark. I think it's cringy when fans call each other marks.
We're all marks. We do a podcast for the rest.
Exactly. But I'm clearly an AEW fan. Dara is much more detached, much more. I don't like saying impartial because it's not a goddamn war.
The only reason why I'm impartial to AEW is because Cody and Khan are there. The minute they leave, I'll be there.
But Cody and who?
Your man who runs it, Tony Khan.
So the reason it exists.
Yeah, when he goes and Cody goes, then I'll be on board.
You'll be a big fan of the nothing.
No, I just don't like when I'll be honest with you. I don't like when I see authority figures who actually run the company on the television. I didn't like it when I even said it to Dixie Carter when I was hanging out with her. I'm like, you have to stop being on the show.
There's no comparison between the amount of times Dixie Carter would show up in TNA and Tony Khan's astonishingly brief, astonishingly random appearances on
I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think the reason AEW works so well is because finally, we have an owner of a company and we have a booker who loves wrestling, who doesn't mind admitting that he's a mark, who isn't, too cool, to talk about how much he loves, WCW in '94 and the NWA and Ring of Honor. And like the only reason that AEW, and as much talent as it has and as great as the storylines are and all that, the only reason AEW appeals as much as it does to lapsed wrestling fans is because it is made by a lapsed wrestling fan.
And look, that's fair. Look, a lot of my concern with AEW is literally rooted in the fear that I have from my loyalty to TNA and Impact Wrestling and what I saw happening. So whenever I see stuff, I'm like, oh no, don't. So that's why I'm hesitant towards it, and that's where my impartiality comes from. I'm like, when I see Cody, I see Jeff Jarrett. When I see Tony Khan, I see Dixie Carter.
But when you see Cody, like, do you not see that he's deliberately doing Jeff Jarrett? Like the way he teased, the pedigree. The way he teased the pedigree the other week, he was literally just being a dick. He was literally going, look at me, I'm Triple H, except I know I'm Triple H, and this time it's actually a character.
Right? But here's the thing, though, right? I can't tell the difference, because Jeff Jarrett, I actually know Jeff Jarrett, he's a really nice guy, but when he was in Impact or TNA, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's just the worst thing in the world. So I don't know, man. Again, I've never talked to Cody Rhodes. I don't know. I can't verify. I've never talked to Tony Khan. I don't know. But I did talk to Dixie. Did know Dixie, and I did know Jeff Jarrett. And look what happened there. So that's where my impartiality comes. Until I'm like, all right, you guys are cool. Or
so what you're saying is that you're the contributing factor in all this. If you haven't spoken to them, they continue to be a success.
Ah, no, I spoke to them after the fact. This is when it was going down the tubes, like what TNA was good for those like 5-6 years, and then once Hulk Hogan came in, the wheels fell off, I think I spoke to Jeff last time when he was doing the Global Force Wrestling thing where you bought the gold.
Oh
So
God.
I would.
Global Force Rest. There's something we should look at.
Oh man. Oh, actually, that's a headache in and of itself. But we will get there. But anyway, look, that's where my hesitance comes from. So I know people are like, "Jesus, why is Dara so hesitant towards AEW?" Because I covered Impact for so long. That's the reason.
It's racism is what it is, folks. It's
To who?
pure racism.
To Cody?
Yeah, he's a Codyist.
Cody. Well, I own up to that. I hate Cody so much. Violently hate him. I wouldn't mind. When I made a sign, when we went over to see Cody, that's not dashing. So I was a dashing Cody Rhodes fan. I'm just disappointed that he doesn't do it anymore.
You were a dashing Cody Rhodes fan.
Oh, I loved it.
But you're not like this awesome version of Cody Rhodes fan.
The best version of Cody Rhodes was Stardust.
That I don't know how to react to that, Dan. I genuinely like and respect you as a person, but when you say things like that,
I know. I'm sorry.
I don't know how to react.
I could just see the wince of pain, and it's just like I don't know. I just enjoy Cody Rhodes as Stardust, and I enjoy it. But dashing, that was brilliant. Or damaged Cody Rhodes was great too. I don't know. I just appreciate my weird gimmicks. That's just it. I just have an appreciation for it. But anyway, I hope to one day get past that and be able to call myself an AEW fan.
Well, look, I think there are some things going to happen this weekend that can help you. One of them, I think, will be the Inner Circle versus American Top Team Minneapolis street fight. And I think
this is going to be... I'm really excited for this, actually.
Yeah, I think it will, because
really
Jericho, this is his bread and butter. Absolute entertaining nonsense is his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Proud and Powerful have proven themselves to be amazing at like the most vicious street fights, like with that fight they had with Best Friends. Sammy Guevara is just an astonishing, he does the most amazing spots.
He's a great little spot monkey, alright. He really is
fantastic. And Jake Hager, for all the grief Jake Hager gets, I absolutely love him. Because when you put Jake Hager in the right place at the right time, he is sensational.
You have all the right players here.
And this is going to come down to they're all baiting each other, everyone's battering away, blah, blah, blah. And Chris Jericho is going to come face to face with Dan Lambert. And after months of Lambert doing exactly the anti AEW gimmick, the all petites, this isn't old school. I'm basically Jim Cornette.
Oh man, it's gas.
When Jericho gets his hands on him, that is going to be amazing.
Oh man, that should be my gimmick.
Irish Jim Cornette.
No,
Jim Cornetto.
Dan Lambert. Be gas. I don't know. I'm not anti AEW. I like to be the control in the room. Let's put it that way.
You've been hurt before. That's all.
I have been. That's all it is, folks. That's all it is. Fool me once, as they say. But no, honestly, I think you're right, man. Everything that you said, spot on. The Inner Circle are absolutely going to win this. It makes sense. It's what they've been building up. Jericho needs that big feel good to finish out the year as well. And this is the way to do it. I think everybody's going to have a good time, and it definitely is probably going to be the one of the matches tonight. Anyway, from that big pop moment.
If I could make a bold prediction, I think Darby Allin versus MJF. I think MJF wins.
I can see it, but you also have to kind of fix Darby Allin coming up short against Punk. So
no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think losing to Punk damaged them. I mean, Punk's Punk.
Yeah.
Anyone was going to lose to Punk. And Darby can go and do whatever with Sting. They can line him up against anyone. He can murk 90 guys in a row.
Well, this is kind of what we said with Miro and Daniel Bryanson, right? I just can't say that name. Bryan Danielson. The question is that I have for you: who benefits more from this? Who benefits more from the win? Because they'll both be fine, but which one benefits most?
From Darby Allin, MJF.
Yeah. getting the win.
I think this is the beginning of the rise of MJF.
Okay.
I think Hangman wins the title,
Mm.
and everybody's so happy. And I am literally crying in my living room at 5 a.m. And I think Hangman comes along, not Hangman, I think MJF comes along pretty quickly. You know, not like hot shot, not like the next Dynamite or anything. But I think MJF comes along pretty quickly and steals the title. You know, like, I don't know, interference or some typically MJF thing. But I think this match is the beginning of the rise of MJF because he's been phenomenal for 2 years and he's so good that I don't think a TNT title run is. I think he's gone past that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he either has to do his own thing or he has to go for the world title.
Okay, so you think that's more realistic rather than Miro getting the next shot? You think it's MJF?
Miro might get the next shot, and Hangman will beat him.
And then you have MJF
himself as like a top star, and Hangman might have a couple of defenses. But I think this match against Darby, because there's no stipulation of this match. There's no like if you win this, you get a shot, or if you win this, blah blah. This is just a huge match. Darby Allin's a huge star, and MJF is a huge star, and I think MJF wins this one, and this is the beginning of the rise of MJF. And can you imagine MJF as the world champion?
I can. I totally can. That's a bold prediction. Now, I can see them giving it to Darby, but the way you've laid it out makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to support you on that. And I think
remember,
you're right, man.
I called Christian winning the Impact title.
You did before it happened and everything. And speaking of which,
I'm going to dine on that forever.
And speaking of which, one thing that I really liked this week was Christian Cage and Jurassic Express taking out Superclick.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I loved it, man. I love Christian Cage. Christian Cage is one of my Here's the thing about AEW. Has all my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest Christian Cage fan in the world. I love Christian Cage.
It has all your favorite wrestlers.
It does.
You really like the storylines. Yeah. You follow it every week.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you're a fan.
I know. But anyway, so I loved this when I saw it. I marked it like I wouldn't believe it. Again, I love Christian Cage. He's like the best. He's the best of the whole lot. And if you don't know why, like you're starting to see a bit of it now, but go back and watch him in Impact, and he was like the best thing in Impact for years. So I really like this pairing with Jurassic Express. Superclick, love the name. It's brilliant. I'm so glad Adam Cole was there, and
I love his eventual turn on Jurassic Express is going to be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be unreal. But they even brought out the concerto this week.
That really surprised me.
Which was like, holy cow!
Genuinely didn't surprise them to do that.
It's great. You know, I can see Superclick winning, but it won't be easy. There could be some sort of turn, or there should be some. I don't think it's going to be a straight. They get beat.
Yeah,
something's going to happen.
The thing is, Jungle Boy is, at least for the next year or so, Jungle Boy is absolute Teflon.
Yeah,
people love him so much, and he's so talented.
And he'll be the one to take the pin.
And he's so young.
Yeah, he'll be the one to take the pin.
Yeah, exactly. He can lose for the next couple of years, and he will still be a mega star.
So here's what I can see. Right, Christian Cage is obviously a face at the moment. Christian Cage works great as a face, but he works even better as a heel. Right.
Yeah.
But he needs to have a set of floozies with him, and he doesn't have that yet because Tomko's still in jail, I think. And AJ Styles isn't leaving anytime soon. Well, he might actually, but I don't know.
Yeah,
got paid $8 million.
The way they're well, they haven't fired anybody this week, but
he got paid $8 million last year though, so it's like, all right, man, that's not bad. But anyway, I can see Christian Cage putting together his own group. I think what's going to happen with this one is Superclick are going to win. Jungle Boy will take the pin, leading to Christian Cage going heel because he's like, you cost me the match. He'll set up his own little team. And bang, we have Christian Cage the Instant Classic back, and I will probably be an AEW fan after that because that's what I want to see. 2005 Christian Cage.
Well, dear listeners, I don't know if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I made a prediction, nay, a spoiler, that by 2022, Dara O'Connor will be All Elite, and I stand by that.
We'll do a little graphic then, will we?
That'll be a huge graphic, and we'll project it on the side of the GPO.
Oh man. Well, look, we are just going to do the hour here. But we're going to do another hour, and we're going to, because we're taking a little bit of a break soon as far as like with the shows. So we are going to do Fall Brawl. So that will be going out next week. No, sorry, not next week, but the week after. Next week we'll be doing a review of Full Gear. So if you guys are listening to this on FM,
and if you're from Ireland or just not from the US, Fall Brawl just means like autumn scrap.
Autumn scrap. Oh man, that's a name that I'm glad they didn't bring back. But the next one is Fall Scrap. Actually, that's what what are they called? OTT should do. Fall Autumn Scrap.
Yeah, we should have one in Ireland. We should just call it Fianna Fall.
Oh, dude. And
then every year it's shite.
But yeah, so what we're going to do is obviously next week here we're going to be talking about an in-depth review of this show, and then we'll be doing Fall Brawl. After that, then there's Halloween Havoc, I think. But we're going to do a special thing for the week of Survivor Series. Now, obviously, we've talked about Survivor Series. We don't really care about 2001 Survivor Series. But Martin, what are we going to do for this year's Survivor Series?
Dara, I cannot believe we are going with this. I suggested this to Dara literally about 2 minutes before we went on air, and he's been incredibly gracious and accepting. I'm a huge Bret Hart fan, and the Montreal Screwjob gets so much coverage, and everybody always talks about the Screwjob and the moment and all that. But there is a whole pay-per-view around that moment that gets completely overlooked. Nobody ever talks about Survivor Series 97 outside of the context of the Screwjob. So I would love for myself and Dara, and hopefully Dave, hashtag Enslave Dave, to have a crack about Survivor Series 97 as a pay-per-view, Brett and Sean as a match, and then obviously we'll talk about the Screwjob itself, and I will explain in great detail why the Screwjob led to the death of Owen Hart.
Oh, that is interesting.
Oh yeah,
that is interesting. Okay, well there you go, guys. If that doesn't get your appetite going, I don't know what is. Because look, Survivor Series 2001, we might talk about. 2001 was actually quite good. 2021 is not very good. I think there's 4 matches announced so far, and they look like the worst thing ever. So,
what are you trying to say, Dara? You trying to tell me you don't care about Red v Blue?
If there was a reason to,
have you never played Halo?
I'll tell you what. You know what they should have done with Survivor, and we'll end on this because we're nearly at time for this show. What they should have done with Survivor Series, when they had bragging rights, that should have been the pay-per-view where it's like Survivor Series bragging rights.
Oh my God, 100. That's an amazing call.
Just
that's
do that.
An amazing call.
Or the winning team gets, every member on the team gets, if you have like your main guy, your Intercontinental Championship, your tag, every member gets a title shot.
Yes.
It's like,
or
stakes. If
SmackDown or if Raw wins more matches, when it comes to the Royal Rumble, say if SmackDown wins, everybody from SmackDown who enters the Royal Rumble gets a shotgun. That one took you a second.
I was like, wait, what? Where are you going with this? Well, if you had said it's chainsaw, that would have been more fair because Chainsaw Charlie did enter with a chainsaw. But I don't know. Listen, there's 4 matches announced. Big E, Roman Reigns. It's champion versus champion. Who cares? SmackDown Women's Championship. Who cares? Champion for champion.
Because they're only going to swap the belt anyway.
I don't even think the belts are up for line. They're literally just champion versus champion, so it means nothing. Intercontinental champion and then US champion. Who cares?
Champion versus champion friendly.
Yeah, with no
What?
belts on the line. What is the point? What is the point? What is the point? But anyway, as I said, that's what we're doing instead of this year. Because WWE, we might talk about if something big happens, but all that WWE seems to be doing lately is firing people. So that's all they're doing. Because look, you make a bold prediction, Martin. My prediction is WWE is going to be sold very soon. So.
Yep.
Before we get out of here for this show and then obviously record Fall Brawl, is there anything you want to plug?
Yes, I want to plug Wimp to Warrior. For the past 20 weeks, I have been doing a program called Wimp to Warrior, and it has taken me from a fat idiot with no confidence to a fat idiot with a modicum of confidence. It's a genuinely good program. I'm not a fighter. But I only bring it up this week because today they told us our date. So it's January 22nd in the Devonish in Belfast. The best part is that it's around 7 o'clock. So it's in the Devonish at 7ish. And so I'm going to be fighting for my life. If you have heard any of the things I've said, particularly around AEW, because that seems to particularly annoy people, and you want to see me get kicked very hard in the face, that is the place to do it.
Well, there we go. We'll be putting that up on the social media. Not you getting kicked in the face, but obviously the details for people who want to show up. But I have to say, and Martin, you inspired me actually to go back to Taekwondo because, so I want to thank you for that as well. So,
well, you're very welcome.
But we will be back next week here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, and also True Penny Channel, Nerd to Know Media, and all that good stuff as well. If you want to check out more of this stuff, please go over to any of those places where you will get all of our other 81 shows. So we will talk to you next week here on The Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.
How's the ghastly eating?
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.